Spider-Man Brand New Day is in theaters this Friday, July 31st. So I'm going to take a minute and kind of review some Spider-Man movies for you. First up is the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, the one that started it all. Let's go.
So let's start off with Tobey Maguire as the web-headed warrior, or as J. Jonah Jameson would soon call Spider-Man, the web-headed war criminal. I know that's in the Tom Holland version, but it also applies to the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield versions. Anyways, let's continue with this. Now, when I first watched Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man, I had already seen Andrew Garfield. And so I'm going to be honest, Andrew Garfield is my favorite Spider-Man. But overall, I think Tobey Maguire starting the Spider-Man movie craze is one of the best choices that Marvel has ever made. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a fan of the character. I am a fan of this character. But one of the things I will say is that just because it's my opinion does not mean it has to be your opinion too. There's a lot of opinions going around about movies, about, oh, I saw this movie, here is what I thought, you should think that same thing too. No, that's not what reviews are supposed to be. That's not what's supposed to happen. Reviews are supposed to be the outlook of the person. Anyways, I don't want to get too into it, but let's get into Spider-Man. So we start off with the first movie, Spider-Man. And I think that overall, this film is one of the quintessential superhero movies to see in your lifetime. If you're not up to date on the whole Spider-Man craze, there's a few movies you could watch to be up to date. Tobey Maguire's first Spider-Man movie is one of those movies. Now, I'm not going to lie, there may be some difficulty watching it just because of the effects, but it does tell a very quintessential part, well, multiple quintessential parts of Peter Parker's story. The way he got his powers is based on the comic, and the way his uncle dies also impacts the later parts of the trilogy, with one of the villains in the third movie stemming from that moment. But that's something to get into in a little bit. I think that Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man is one of the best choices Marvel has ever made. I know I said that before, but I really think that it is. Now, do I think that he is the best version of Peter Parker or Spider-Man? No, but he is one of the most essential to the Marvel Universe we know today. Because he was the first iteration of the, at least, American Spider-Man. I know that there was the Japanese Spider-Man, so I don't want to get into that because I haven't watched it. I would love to. Somebody could tell me where it is, that'd be awesome. But overall, I think that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is one of the most essential to watch if you're being introduced to any of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, even though the MCU wasn't a thing of it. Alright, so deep diving into it. I think that overall, the tragedy of Spider-Man that is told over these three movies is not necessarily him going through life with these powers. Yes, that is a part of it, but it's him losing his love. And we did get a confirmation in No Way Home that Tobey's Peter Parker got together with MJ eventually, which is awesome, but in the trilogy, it is not shown that way. So, overall, I think that Spider-Man is just a story of love. And it's amazing because a lot of the villains reflect things that go against love. Green Goblin goes against love by addiction. And I think that a lot of people miss that because Green Goblin was originally created in the comics to combat addiction. And I think that overall, what needs to happen is we need to have more talks about what these Spider-Man movies mean instead of saying, oh, these are great action movies. They are great action movies, but we need to have more conversation about what the message is that Spider-Man is sending. Because it's amazing the story, and I'm obsessed with story, like with characters and with dialogue, and I think that the Spider-Man movies, no matter who played it, I think that those movies are essential to not just comic books, but also literature in general because it shows what a true hero is. Spider-Man is one of the best representations of a hero that we have in cinema. And I think that when we stop to think about it, maybe I'm just off my rocker about this. But I think that Spider-Man is not just one of the best, but is the best representation of heroism in the entirety of both comic books and literature and movies. So, yes, Spider-Man 1 was an origin. Now, Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3 from the Tobey Maguire trilogy, I would love to cover those. Like, I would love to cover them deeper in detail than I am in this video, but I just simply don't have the time to just go in and talk about that just all day. I don't have the time for that. But I would love to at some point, so maybe along the way you'll see full length for the Tobey Maguire trilogy instead of just one video. You'll see 3 different videos for the 3 different movies. We'll see. We'll see how you like this one. But we're getting Spider Week off with a bang with the Tobey Maguire trilogy. And I'm excited. I'm excited for Brand New Day. I'm excited to see where they take this character. On screen and also off screen. Alright, so moving on to Spider-Man 2. Widely regarded as one of the best Spider-Man movies and also one of the best superhero movies because of its villain, Dr. Otto Octavius. And if you're laughing at that name, that's because you've probably seen No Way Home, in which they laugh at his name. And I'm not gonna lie, a friend turned foe is one of the most, I don't want to say it, it's one of the most cliched things in a Spider-Man comic, is a friend that turned into a foe. Because, like, we had it with Green Goblin, but we also had it with Doc Ock. And I think that overall, what happens is we like watching the same stories. I like watching different stories just because I am intrigued about dialogue and kind of what these characters are going to say to each other, and that's why I loved Infinity War and Endgame, because we had different people interacting with each other than we normally see. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So, what do I think about Spider-Man 2? You're going to have to find out at the end when I do my actual numbering from on a scale of 1 to 10 for these 3 movies. But let's move on to the third one. Alright, so I know I've been going fast through these. That's just because I'm a busy man. I got stuff to do. But I do want to put this out because although the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy is not my favorite depiction of Spider-Man or Peter Parker, it is still important to put it out. So Spider-Man 3, let's talk about it. So Spider-Man 3 is widely regarded as kind of a meh movie when it comes to the Spider-Man franchise. And I think it's actually one of the best, if not the best in the Sam Raimi trilogy. Come at me, but I think that Spider-Man 3 has one of the best depictions of a relatable villain in any movie that we've seen, especially any superhero movie, in Flint Marko, aka Sandman. Now, I don't think that they did Venom well in this movie. That's the one thing I did not like. But what I did like was the portrayal of Sandman and the tragedy that it is. Because as I said earlier, the things that happened in the first movie are coming back to this third movie. Because Flint Marko was the one that shot Uncle Ben. Spoiler alert, right? But I think that overall, what happens is we see these characters on screen and we think there's no way that's connected. There's no way they're connected. But we have a connection there. And I love that there is a deleted scene. I don't like that it's a deleted scene. I wish they kept it in. But there was a deleted scene in which Sandman, or Flint Marko, is interacting with his daughter. Because he builds himself as a sandcastle. And she puts her hand on it, and then a hand appears next to her, and it's Flint's hand. I just think that's an amazing thing. But overall, Spider-Man 3, not a bad movie. Not as bad of a movie as people say it is. I think people only don't like the portrayal of Venom. Now, I know I didn't go too deep. I didn't go as deep as my other reflections, but I will say that I am going to give a score now. Alright, so the first Spider-Man movie in the Sam Raimi trilogy, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. The reason I'm giving it a 7 and not an 8 or 9 is because it's not stellar, but it's not bad. It's an origin movie about one of the most well-known superheroes of all time. And then we move on to number 2. Now, people think that number 2 is this 9 out of 10 great movie all around. And while I could agree with them, I think that the story itself, as good of a movie as it is, I think that there was more story to tell. So I'm going to give it a solid 7.5. And the reason I give it a 7.5 and not an 8 is just because I would have loved to see more of kind of this interaction between Peter and Dr. Otto Octavius before he became a villain. I think that would have been amazing. And while I'm about to move on to number 3, I will say that number 3 gave us one of our most iconic emotes of all time, the Spider-Man dancing down the street. The evil Peter dancing down the street, as I should say. But it's time to review number 3. Now, I'm going to give number 3, Spider-Man 3, a 8 out of 10. The reason I'm doing that is because while I don't like Venom, I think that the portrayal of Flint Marko kind of steals the show in this film. I think that overall, all Spider-Man villains need an arc like Flint Marko, or they need to bring Flint Marko into the MCU and have him be not just the one from the Sam Raimi trilogy, but we need to tell a new story of Flint Marko and how he impacts the MCU's Peter. And maybe they'll do that in Brand New Day. I don't know. I'll let you know. Actually, I won't because I don't do spoilers on my channel. But I will be excited to see what they do with the villains in Spider-Man Brand New Day, because Spider-Man has a lot of people in his rogues gallery. So, I guess we'll wait and see. Alright, thank you for joining me today on After Credit Reflection. I am so excited that you joined me, but make sure that you get your tickets for Spider-Man Brand New Day. It's going to be in theaters this Friday, July 31st. Alright, That's it for me, and I will see you at the movies.